Rose asked me a question.
I'm just a girl, a wonderful girl.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little bit different. It is a Q&A video. It's something that I've asked way back in December for some questions that you may have for me to answer, and I thought while I'm here on vacation, while Mark's in a conference, I thought now is the best time to answer some of these questions. So I asked on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So there may be some stops and starts to this video. I'm going to get as many answered as I can as I'm looking at them. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. Well, and if you also, before we get started, if you don't already know who I am, my name is Misty, and I am a full-time vintage reseller. So, and I have live sales every Tuesday on here on my YouTube channel, as well as Whatnot. And I also sell on eBay, kind of, sort of, but mainly live selling on both Whatnot and YouTube. I've been a reseller. Gosh, well, I've been in the antiques business my entire life. My parents were dealers, and I grew up in antiques malls, flea markets, garage sales, all of the above. And, you know, reselling vintage and antiques has been a lifelong adventure ever since I was a little girl. So that's kind of me in a nutshell, I guess you could say. All right, so what item has brought you the most profit when you sold? Well, it's funny that you say that. One of the things that brought me the most profit were borderline vintage items. They were these little charms that you put in little plates. They were called Nora Fleming. And there are some ones that are older that were kind of like, I guess, the first generation of her charms. That you just put on these little plates, and you can change them out for different holidays. And I found a couple grab bags filled with them at Goodwill, and I paid, I think, $5.99 or $3.99 actually for the entire bag, and I sold some individually for close to $1,000 each. So that was a great, and that was monumentous. That was my best find. Kennedy, this is from Kennedy's Castle, which is Val and Glass Man. She wants to know where I've been her whole life. Well, Val, I've been right here. Your whole life, Val. Right here. I love you, Val. All right, so Ronnie Bond 88 says, has anyone told you how fantastic you are to help other thrifters? Well, thank you. I do. I fully believe in us working as a community and helping one another. I have had to pull back a little bit because as you do that, some unnecessary drama can happen as well. And, well, I don't like it. So it's very much a catch-22 sometimes, because you do want to put yourself out there and be helpful and be a resource. But at the same time, it kind of puts a target on your back a little bit, and people want to say this and they want to say that, and they don't really know what the whole situation is. I don't like to air any drama or anything publicly. That's not me. That's not my style. It's not what I want to do. But it can be kind of it can be a catch-22. I'll always be there to try to help and encourage other people, but at the same time, I also have to protect myself and my own business as well. So it's kind of a yucky thing, but it has happened. All right, Pammy Whammy, do you have any siblings? If so, where are you in the lineup? I do. I have a half-brother. His name is Bobby. He is 5 years older than me, and that's it. That's it. Me and my brother. I don't have any. And my dad, I'm his only child. He raised my brother from when he was about 3, but I'm my dad's only blood child, I guess you could say. But yeah, just me. I'm the youngest. Karen wants to know, when will you do any regular live sales on your own? I do. Well, I've done pop-up ones on my YouTube channel, but I do my solo sales on Whatnot. And some of the reason why I do the solo sales on Whatnot is because it's easy. I don't have to write anything down. I don't have to, it's all done for me on the computer. So it's so helpful, and it's quick and it's nice and I like it. There are fees on Whatnot. There are. But to me, it's worth it. Just the ease of being able to run a sale smoothly and seamlessly without having to stop and write something down and look up and write something down and look up. So it's just the way that I prefer. So I do them on my own. So Carolina Sweet Treats and Pretties, Beth, what does your perfect day look like? My perfect day is somewhere when it's nice and warm and the sun is shining and I have a full tank of gas and I'm caffeinated and I have an entire day that I can go junking by myself, and I don't have anybody telling me that I need to hurry up, and I don't have anybody telling me that I'm looking at something too long. If I want to sit down on the floor and look through a whole box of ephemera, I'm going to do that. So that's me. That's a perfect day for me. And then going and eating something really cheesy and good. That's good. My mom says I'm the best daughter ever. Thanks, Mom. Katie, Vintage and Vinyl, says, what is your favorite story memory from when your shop was a brick and mortar? Honestly, I liked hearing other people's stories when they would come in and they would see something that we have for sale, something that reminded them of, their grandparent or their, their aunt or uncle, or just a special memory that item held, that they shared with somebody else, and it kind of brought them back. And so hearing other people's stories was really fun for me. When they would come in and see something, you could just kind of see their eyes light up, and immediately they're thrown back into the memory that item evoked. So I loved that part of it. I miss that part of it. Whispering Walls Vintage, what's the weirdest find you thought you would sell but still have? My gosh, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of weird things. Sometimes I keep the little weird things around. Like right now, I have a fuzzy monkey. I have a white fuzzy monkey on my shelf. And he's hanging from a little branch. And he's weird. I haven't tried to sell him yet. But, I don't know why I'm holding on to him. Sometimes I hold on to things just because they are a little weird. And I like that about them. I don't know. Oh, my mom says I have the best mommy in the universe. I do. There you are, Mom. There you are. Mimi's Treasure Shop. Have you ever purchased, have you ever purchased an item to resell and the person that bought it from you was the original owner or family member that purchased the item or made or painted the item? I don't think that's ever happened to me, but that would be weird. I think that would be neat. Like today, for example, I was at a flea market and I was looking through a whole box of someone's photos, and I could tell that it was the same family's photos, and there were Christmas pictures, and there were like Easter pictures, and there were like pictures with their pets, and I always think, what if I was like had this big bag full of ephemera and someone said that's my mom or that's my uncle? I would love that, to be able to reunite that stuff back with their owner. It does make you wonder how it got to a flea market to begin with. Most times it is the family that just doesn't want it anymore. Like the people have passed on and the family's like, I don't want all this stuff. And if you think about that, I have a closet filled with photographs. Who's going to want that stuff? I don't know that my kids even want it. It does make you wonder. Someone's going to be looking through my pictures at a flea market one day and think nobody wants this stuff. Well, and sadly, that's the case. That is the case. Pictures, now we live in such a digital age that a lot of times pictures and photographs are just kind of in the way. And that's a sad reality, but I think that's, it's kind of, they're big and bulky and they take up a lot of room. All right, so Sweet Picks Market says, what is the most difficult item about being a reseller in your opinion? I think sometimes the inconsistency of it, with sales in general, it can be, sometimes are better than others. When you're talking about being an online, like an e-commerce reseller, you have a whole other list of complications and issues that can go along with that. You've got social media, you've got to deal with people not being very kind or people being very judgmental and not knowing, they're hearing someone's side of the story and they're not getting the full side of the story, and it causes a lot of unnecessary opinions and drama. So you kind of have all that to deal with, as well as, you know, trying to earn a living and selling your items. You have to deal with the whole social media aspect of it. And that can be a little, well, frustrating, hurtful, and unnecessary, I think, sometimes. But I think just in general, seasonally, time of year, some months are better than others. And, you know, in sales, that's just sales in general. Shabby Vintage Belle, what was it like doing your first video? My first video, you can watch it. It is horrible. I will link my very first video below. I've shared it before. It's bad. There's part 1 and part 2. Just so if you can't get enough part 1, there's part 2. It's bad. The camera was the wrong way. I have jet black hair, pale skin, no editing is done at all. And that's another thing, you know, with editing, I don't think that you need to over edit your videos, but if you're wanting to keep people coming around, you need to learn how to edit a little bit. You know, if you're doing haul videos, if you're doing, definitely if you're doing shop with me, if you're doing a haul video, you can edit out some of that unnecessary background stuff. I mean, I sometimes in my videos, because I will say, I edit all that out. Nobody wants to watch me sit and fumble over my words, and it takes up a lot of time. So learning the general skills of editing is, I think, very important for, you know, a content creator. And it makes, you know, I'm not saying that over editing them at all, but just editing out some of the fluff that doesn't need to be in there. But yeah, first video, that was something else. All right, and then Skeeterly Trinkets. Do pineapples belong on pizza? Yes. Controversy, I know, but they do. Pineapples, barbecue sauce. I'm not a real big meat eater, so I don't care about the meat. But pineapples, olives, yes, all that stuff belongs on pizza, in my opinion. L. Galloway, Lori says, what is your biggest regret selling item? You know, honestly, I can think of when we first opened our brick and mortar antique store, I had so many great pieces of kitsch, and I sold them for next to nothing. This was before I was selling online because I couldn't sell a lot of these things locally. So I had to price them very, very low, which is what I try to say about antique malls all the time. Sometimes, depending on where you're at, in my area, mid-century modern and kitsch, not a lot of people really are crazy about it. They more want the primitives and that kind of thing. So I can get them for a cheaper price. And I know that other people love the kitsch, and then I can sell it and make a profit. But I sold things for way cheap. Swung vases and really cool pieces of mid-century modern and kitsch, because in my area where my brick and mortar is, nobody wanted it. So I had to mark it down. So that's what I'm saying. You can find deals in different markets and different places if you travel a little bit that aren't selling in that area, that will be marked down because they're really just wanting to make space and get rid of it. So those were all the Instagram questions. Now we're on the Facebook questions. And Jean asks, hi, can you tell us what product you use to clean figures? I don't use products necessarily. To get like gummy stuff off of things, I use Undo, and I use, and it's UNDU, Undo. And you can use it on ephemera too, to get price tags off of books and ephemera, and it doesn't damage it. You think that you're doing something wrong when you use it, but it doesn't damage it. I typically just use a baby wipe to wipe down things. I don't overly clean. If it's glass or something, like a swung vase or a piece of Fenton, I'll wash it in the sink with, you know, just with gentle soap and water, and then dry it with a cloth, like a cut up t-shirt. We cut up old t-shirts and use those to wipe things down with. But you have to be very careful with things that are painted. So I don't try to overdo it, because I will leave that up to the buyer. But I don't send things that are filthy dirty either. Linens, I don't do anything with. Sometimes I will just run them through the washing machine, just to get the general funkiness out of it. But I don't treat the stains. I let the buyer treat the stains. I don't treat the stains. So Maureen says, I just want to tell you, Misty, that I really appreciate how you go the extra care in wrapping your items you send us. The pretty tissue paper, the ribbon, the cute stickers, it makes it feel special that we receive our gift purchase items from you. Thank you so much, Maureen. I I enjoy it myself. It honestly, it makes it fun for me to ship items. I do everything by myself. I don't have any employees. I buy it, I film it, I buy it, I wrap it, I sell it, I do it all by myself, and I ship it. And so everything that you're purchasing from me, I'm touching, I've bought it, I'm touching with my hands, and I kind of I talk to the items. Like I'll say, oh, Maureen, you're going to love this. This is going to look so great. And I do. It's weird, but I do it, and it helps the time go by a little bit quicker for me. And I like the fact of knowing that when you open your box, it might put a smile on your face. So it makes it fun for me as well to use a different tissue paper and stuff like that. And I kind of like searching and looking for things to use as package choppers. That's also fun for me to do while I'm thrifting. Vicky says, oh, I gotta load these more comments. Vicky says, I inherited a Nippon urn vase. Has a bolt on the bottom, covered like frosted raised glass. Marked on the bottom, 12 inches tall, mint condition. I cannot find the exact green mark as mine. So wondering if you would know. You'd have to send me a picture. Your best friend is Google Lens. You have to download the app, download a Google Lens on your phone, and you can take a picture of it, and it will bring up similar comments. You'll be surprised at what it'll bring up. And sometimes you have to scroll down to see if you can find more. Here is the caveat, though, for Google image search. Don't think that that's giving you, it might bring up an eBay listing, and the eBay listings that it's bringing up are active listed, not sold comps. So you have to really make sure that you're going in and you're looking at the sold comps to get an accurate comparable to the value of it. Google just brings up what people are asking for things. And we all know that people can ask whatever they want to for an item, and then may not be adequately or accurately what it is actually worth. So Google Lens will be your best friend. I use it all the time. I use it even when I'm in the antique mall. I will do Google Lens to see if I can figure out what the heck this is. Sometimes while I'm filming, I'm like, I need to tell people about this. Do Google Lens, and it'll bring it up, and I can read a little bit about it, and then I can tell you guys about it, what I found out about it as well. So Beth says, what video editing software do you use? I use Filmora, Filmora, Filmora. I know that there are all kinds, and I do the paid version, so the watermark and everything is off of there. That's what I've always used. I won't use anything different because I like it and I can figure it out. And I didn't edit my videos for over a year because I didn't know how to do it. But I learned how to do it by watching YouTube videos and figuring it out. You will figure it out if you just try. You just gotta try. And Filmora does have like an academy, so you can watch videos on how to use their software. So that's what I use. Marie says, is Mark an engineer? He is. He works for the Department of Defense, and he is an engineer. He is. Darlene says, do you have help with your household cleaning and laundry? No. Well, Mark does help. He does dishes. He helps me cook. We're a partner. He takes care of the outside of the house. He mows the yard and does all that stuff. And I do the dusting and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, we do it all. We have a Roomba. Our Roomba sweeps the floor for us. But everything else we do ourselves. I don't have anybody that comes in and cleans. Cindy says, did you learn all about all types of glass and names through your dad? All the years he was involved in the business, I know I've learned from you. I don't consider myself a big glass aficionado, but I do, you can learn a lot from old books, old price guides. And I say price guides loosely. Don't use them as price guides. You use the old, like the hardback books, the reference books. I learn a lot more from the reference books than I do from anything online. You can look up patterns, but the thing of it is I never remember patterns, and I don't remember makers a lot of the time. That's when Google Lens comes in handy, because you can look something up and then it'll trigger something in your brain. So I don't consider myself I don't consider myself a master of anything. I consider myself more of a gut shopper. I know what my customers like. I know what the market is right now, and I know what I can get out of certain items. And I also look at how I tend to shop with how people can use something in their home, like from a decor standpoint. How can they use this to go with their displays? Or they can, you hear me say all the time, you can stack up a bunch of books and put this on a book, and do different layers. So I look at when I'm shopping, I'm thinking of how somebody can use it in their home first. I know that sounds weird, and I know that some people are like, well, I'm buying this because it's highly collectible. That's not what I do when I shop. Listen, it's probably, knowing that something is great for a collector is probably the best way of going about it, but I just kind of shop for resale like I'm shopping for myself. Does that make sense? So if I'm shopping something, it's something that interests me, then I know I'm going to want to sell it. I have things that I have bought that I know are marketable and nice things, but I'm not excited about them, and so they sit on my shelf in the shop to be sold because they don't excite me. So I've learned over the years to just stick with the things that excite me. And it shows when you're selling something and you really have a feeling about it and you're excited about it, it shows in the way that you're selling it. That's the thing I love about live selling, is that you can really you can get your crowd excited with you about something that you have found. So that's what works for me. It's what makes it more enjoyable for me, is to stick with the things that I enjoy. And I know that there's other weirdos out there in the world that like the things that I do. Now that being said, I still buy like Fenton. I like Fenton, don't get me wrong. I think it's beautiful. It isn't my aesthetic style, but I still buy it because when I can get it for a good deal, because I know that it does sell. So, but the things that I get really excited about are the things that I myself enjoy as well. Okay. But I did learn a lot from my dad. We learn a lot from each other. He learned stuff from me. I learned stuff from him. The market changes so much though, because things that were, when he was in his heyday of selling back in the 80s, the market has changes so often. So things that used to be really huge, big in the 80s may not be so huge and big right now. And, if you're not continuously in the market, you think that something might be still, highly desirable, and it isn't. So you have to kind of be aware of the market changes. And the best way to do that is go into an antique mall, kind of look at the prices on things, see what people are using in their displays, and you can get an idea of what the market is. All right, Rita wants to know, are you going to be doing a pop-up sale in your building anytime soon? I would like to, but I want to honestly get it ready. I'm not happy with it. I'm going to have an auction, and that is something that we're trying to get in the books. It will be off location, but it is something that's I'm thinking about doing, but not in any time soon. Planning a resale excursion to Pennsylvania next year. I would like to, possibly. I have something that might be in the works, but I don't know for sure yet. But I'm wanting to travel. 2023 is me traveling. Annette says, my eyeglasses cost a small fortune. Do you have eyeglasses buying secret? Zenny, Zlol. I've got links down in my description. That's another thing. Look at people's descriptions. You'll find all kinds of stuff in there. Just go down and look at their descriptions. You'll see links. You'll see discount codes. You'll see all kinds of fun things that you might be able to use in your life or in your business in people's descriptions. But Zenny, Zenni, and Zlol. Let me just show you. I have it sitting right next to me. Emma got me this for Christmas, but I travel with different glasses. I love them. I love them. Some people like to buy purses and I like to buy glasses. So that's my accessory. But yeah, no, that you can get I think these cost me $30. Prescription, $30 from Zlol. So check them out. Becky says, whatever happened to the rare Build-A-Bear you found at Goodwill? I did sell it. I sold it a couple times. I sold it, I think, 3 times. First 2 times, the person never paid because I put it on eBay. And then the last time they did finally pay. And I want to say that I sold it, I think, for $75. But I paid $3.99 for it. So that was a good return on my investment. Build-A-Bear. Now, look up Squishmallows. when you see those out, because there are some Squishmallows that are worth quite a bit of money. Wendy asks, what is your dream item to find? Not for resale, but for you personally. I love old dishes and Pyrex. I think my dream would be my mispriced item. I always look for Holt Howard. That's always my thing that I always look for. But the pixie ware is something that I really, really like. I'm kind of going through a weird thing where I want to keep the things, but I want to sell the things because, again, it's my dream to not have so much things, to be able to travel. And we want to live in an RV for most of the time. So I'm not going to be able to have all these things. We will have a home base, whether that's going to be the apartment above the shop, whether that's going to be our home. We don't know yet. But I'm really, really trying to simplify things. So I'm always looking for kitsch, whether or not I keep it or kitsch to sell for another kitsch lover. Jared said, is it hard to start on YouTube? How do you have money to go at antique malls all the time? Do you buy your items you sell on credit and then pay the credit card off when the item sells? It can be hard to get started on YouTube. It absolutely is. I created daily content for over a year for free. I wasn't monetized. I participated in sales. I just stayed consistent and did it. But it took over a year it took me over a year to get monetized. Some people will take them, a couple weeks to get monetized or 6 months to get monetized. It took me a year of daily content. And just paying attention to, making sure that you're using tags and hashtags. They are different. There is a difference between tags and hashtags. So just researching what items that you should be putting in your descriptions. Your titles are very important. Your thumbnails are probably the most important thing. And, editing your videos, keeping your people interested, and having, kind of a fun, engaging personality. How do you have the money to go to? I reinvest into my business. So if I, have a sale, I have X amount of money that I put into my savings in my business. And then I have an X amount of money that I reinvest back into my business. So I use the money that I have from my sales to go out and reinvest into more profits. I don't take anything out of any personal thing. It's all money from my business that gets reinvested back into my business. So some weeks are better than others. So some weeks I only have this amount of money that I'm going to put back into my business. So you gotta spend money to make money. Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes you break even. Do you buy your items you sell on credit card and pay it off? I do have a business credit card, and I use it as much as I can, and I pay it off every week. So I go in and I have Thursdays are my days. I go in on Thursday, I pay off my credit card every single week. And I do that because you get points. So I get points all of my shipping, everything is done on this business credit card. And I get the points back, and then I can use those points to reinvest back into my business as well. So yes, I do, but I pay it off every week, and I have it Thursdays. And I think for me, it helps in my brain to go in and say, Thursday is my pay. You go in and pay off your card every week. And that's what I do. Can you show us one of your high school photos? I'll see if I can post one. I had big hair. This was back in the 90s. I had the big hair that stood straight up. And I'll try to, I don't know, I'll see if I can include a picture here of Mark and I when we were in high school, because we went to high school together. We were high school sweethearts. All right, Cynthia says, how did you meet little baby Jeff and Michael? I met Jeffrey through YouTube. We went George the same day. We met up in Kentucky, and we started talking before then, and we just kind of formed a friendship, and we talk about 800 times a day via Marco Polo. And then Michael, I met also through just YouTube. He was a customer, and we just started talking, and became, they're both my best friends. So I talk to both of them 800 times a day. And I love them. I love them both. Jeffrey is more like, I feel very protective of Jeffrey. You know, like he's like my little brother and I'm very protective of him. And Michael and I are the same age. So Michael is just, Michael, I just kind of see as part of me, but he's Michael. I know that's weird, but I'm very close to both of them. I love them both. And they're just my buddies. I love them. Penny. Hi, Penny Sue. Did you ever take time off from videos, then come back with success? No, I have never taken a break from putting out videos. I've been doing this for YouTube full time reselling full time and making content for almost 5 years, 4 years? I don't even know. Either 4 or 5 years. But no, I consistently every week, and I don't. If you take a break, sometimes it isn't always the best thing to do, but sometimes it's needed. But no, I love what I do and I don't want to take a break from it. I get like anxiety. Like I'm not home right now working and it makes me anxious. So no, I love it. So I don't want to take a break from it. Sometimes it stresses me out and I want to scream and yell and I want to throw a fit and I want to shout my feeling like I'm being wrong done from the mountaintops, but it isn't anybody's business. And it isn't my job to try to sway someone's opinion on somebody else. Some people do that. Trust me, it's happened to me and it's not nice, but I won't do that. All right, Susan says, I can't think of anything to ask. How about if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live? Gosh, anywhere in the world. I really like California. But see, that's the thing. We want to live in an RV when we retire, and if we want to live in California for a week, we will. Then maybe we want to live in Arizona for a month, and then maybe we want to live in Boston we can do that. That's the dream. We can live wherever our wheels will take us. That's the dream. And then Troy says, does the same people every couple days bid on your auctions? And if so, wonder if they have the funds to do so. Yes, Troy, I have a lot of repeat customers that come and buy from me every single week. And sometimes they'll be in for a while and then you don't see them for a while and then they come back. And I get that because with this economy, you got ups and you got downs, and I'm that way too. I'll jump into a sale and buy some stuff, and then I don't for a while. So yeah, I mean, in resale, you're selling things to the public, and you're going to have buyers that come in every week. I have shops locally that I go into every single week, and I buy things every single week, and that's what it isn't any of my business what people buy and how much they buy and what they're spending it on and if they have X, Y, and Z. That isn't my business. What is my business is providing them with great customer service, with getting their item to them as soon as possible, with it being clean, packaged well, and on their door within a couple of days. That's what my business is. That's my end of the deal. That's my end of the deal. So that's all I can do. That's all I can worry about is keeping up with my end of the deal. And that's all the questions. That's all the questions. I meant to do this video much sooner than what I did, but this was the best opportunity for me to do it. And thank you for asking me the questions. Thank you for listening to the questions. And if you have any other questions, you can put them down in the comments below and maybe we'll do this again. I thought about doing it live, but then I knew I would get so distracted in the chat that I wouldn't answer all the questions, and I really wanted to answer all the questions. So thank you guys for asking the questions for me to answer. And again, thank you for watching the videos and being so supportive. I really do appreciate it. And this is just it's a fun job to have. It can be very stressful. It can be very tedious. but the majority of the time it's a blast, and I'm so thankful to be able to do what I love, and I'm so thankful to have a community of fellow people that can understand and appreciate and also enjoy the same things. We all kind of like all these weird things together. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I really, really do appreciate it, and I hope to be able to do this forever and ever and ever and ever. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. I have live sales every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern, right here with my buddy Michael, the Cult of Vintage, and then every Tuesday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern over on Whatnot, and all of the links to everything are down in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Red hot mama, you're the one we need. Red hot mama, some charmer, yes indeed. They say that I should be in the follies, hot tamales. Say that I got a pair of eyes just like old Svengali. I confess that I possess the sweetest charms in town, and unless I miss my guess, the boys all follow me around. I could make a music master drop his fiddle, make a bald-headed man part his hair